Hey, welcome back. We have another knife here today. This is an interesting one. I don't do a lot of fixed blades on the channel, but I have a knife here from Boatright Bladeworks, I think it's called. And I got introduced to this one from, I think it was either Screaming Pirate or Tier 1 Gear Reviews in a Instagram chat that I'm in. Thanks to Lefty EDC. Shout outs are free, so we'll just give one to everyone that is in there as much as I can. But yeah, let me pull this off screen here real quick and get into it, because I think there's going to be this is actually bought from the company directly, so I think there will be some like a receipt in here or something like that. Plus I'm just having a little trouble getting into it because my trusty Demco is down in the garage right now. All right, getting it. Man, this thing is stuck. Never seen one of these so well sealed. Oh man. All right, here we go. Very, very cool. All right, oh cool, I forgot it comes with this Kydex sheath too. This is nice. Ooh, this is a very nice finish. Look at that, CPM-4V. Sweet. This thing's sweet. Got the certificate of authenticity here. So Boatright Bladeworks. Let's see what else we got in here. Let's give a little shout out here. Made on March 23rd. So it was just made. It's called, the model is called the Ventifact. He has a couple really cool models that I'm checking out. CPM-4V, hollow ground, Kydex sheath, canvas hardware. So I guess micarta, red, G10 and carbon fiber. That's cool. And then the maker is Chase Boatright there. So really cool. You can check them out here at Instagram at Boatright Bladeworks. But let's get into it. This is a really, really neat. I just really like the way his knives look. How cool is that? And yeah, just the perfect size. I was chatting with him and I was trying to get a custom kind of made in the right size for me. And he has some, you know, like you can do some made to order stuff with him, but he also does a lot of just really cool stuff that he puts out, and then just does a first come, first serve on Instagram. And saw this one pop up, and I remember within like 10 minutes, like 3 people were like, oh man, the want is real. And everyone was like going nuts over this really cool like acid wash with the hollow ground out of it. This is just beautiful, beautiful work here. He also has some like sheep's foot style blades, which I think would be really cool for EDC, but I saw this one pop up and I've been wanting to get a hold of his stuff. And yeah, just like I thought, sometimes you can just look at something and look at the size of it and just tell it's going to fit amazingly well in your hand. And look at that. It's just right in there. So this is sweet. I've got a custom order going for a knife with a local maker here in Bellingham. You may have seen one of my videos on Northern Blades. But while I'm waiting for that, this is a really nice little comparison for it. Like this Kydex sheath quite a bit, so it looks like that could go inner waist or potentially in the pocket, I guess. I'm not super savvy on this stuff, but it looks like it has a lot of mounting locations. And he said that this could get mounted for sideways also. So instead of having it vertical, you could mount it so that the knife comes out sideways when you need it, which I think could actually be really nice if you want to carry it sideways. What I'll say right away is two things. One, this comes out of here really nicely. It feels like it has a really good purchase in there, like it's not going to fall out. Doesn't feel like it's going to go anywhere, so it's well formed. But it's also very easy to get out of there compared to some of the others that I've seen. What's an example? Man, there's a sheath that I have that is just freaking hard to get the knife out of. The Demco is a good example of where it's just like, man, this thing feels way too hard to get it out of here. It's not going to go anywhere, which is great, but yeah, anyways. I wouldn't mind like a little jimping up at the top here, but overall, man, this thing feels really nice. Let's get this off of here. Probably a little stropping compound or something like that, or finishing compound, I don't know. Whew. really nice hollow ground. Really nice. That is sweet. Kind of interesting how this sort of expands up. I think it kind of goes with the design, but it is a little funny looking to me. How this gets a little wider, it seems, here than it is here. I tend to like things going from larger to smaller on knives in general, but overall, really like the look of this thing. And man, this is sweet. This handle is quite nice. Again, I've learned finally that I can do some nice zooming here. So let me see if I can get it right today. There we go. How sweet is that? Very, very nice finishing. Custom and well done. That is sweet. Love this see-through here. I guess you could throw a lanyard on there, but look at that sweet finish. That is nice. Wow. I'm into it. I really am. I think you did a spectacular job on this. This is a G10 in carbon fiber layup of some sort. I don't know how this is done, but you can kind of tell it looks like it's a bunch of layers. It is really nice. And then get into that awesome acid wash and very nice satin hollow ground. Man, that's a sweet looking knife. I have never really EDC'd. I've done it a little bit, but I've never really EDC'd a fixed blade, so it's something I've been wanting to give a go at. Let me just get this back to where we were. Yeah, so I want to pick up a few and be able to compare a few of them, and man, these just jumped out as being really nice looking. So let me just see if I can get you some weigh-in here. I'm gonna guess this is around 4 ounces or so based on what I'm feeling, but I don't really know the weights and the feel of these guys. And then I'll show you the measurements and whatnot. Wow, more than I thought, 5 1/4. So definitely not a super lightweight one. He does make some like 5-inch knives that are definitely on the lower weight end, I think sub 3 ounce. But this is a little bigger, so let me get you some measurements here. Blade length there, about 3.5 inches. Your cutting edge, about 3 1/4 there. And then total length, 7.625, I'd call it, maybe almost 7.75, right in there, 7.625 or so. And just in case you're wondering, that is a pretty tall blade, so it does go about 1.5 inches, which, you know, for a knife this length is quite a bit bigger than like what you'd be used to, you know, comparing it to the size of a blade of something like a bug out that you'd carry. So definitely not, you know, a super lightweight, but I feel like the sheath feels very stealthy and very fitting for what it is, and overall this thing would probably carry pretty darn well. Let me throw it in the pocket and just see what I think here for a split second. And yeah, it does feel really good here. Again, me not being a pro, I'd have to actually even do a little bit of research here and try and understand. I don't even know if this sheath is designed to go in the waistband or the pocket or what, but it goes on the waistband well too, from what I can feel here. Probably a misuse, but did not disappoint in either position. It's got a nice little catch here that's catching on my waistband, probably because it's also designed for a belt or something. This is probably like designed to catch here on the belt, but that little guy right there caught on there pretty nicely and made sure it didn't fall out. So yeah, that feels good. I'm gonna pull out just one of the very few fixed blades I have in this size. This is the Bark River Hunter, and it's very similar in size, but a very different design there. And just thought I'd throw that one next to each other there, because I think they're a somewhat similar concept. And this guy's an S45VN, and it's a Scandi grind, I think you would call it. Can never remember the name of this style knife. I try and avoid them in general because they're so hard to sharpen unless you want to add a micro bevel. Not my area of expertise. I'm just gonna throw that out there. Yeah, this thing is sweet. Really like it. I think this handle is actually a little thinner than the Bark River, which is nice. But it doesn't feel like it is. Like this Bark River fills up the hand really nicely. It's a good feel, but it is very tall, and this feels just as good. I'd say this even feels better. This design is something I really like when you have like about half of the knife or a third of the knife, and then you kind of go out and then it kind of thins down a little bit. This is like one of my favorite handle designs. It actually ends up being manifested in quite a few other knives. You may not realize it entirely on the Demco because there's like these dual parts, but they're actually quite similar overall. You know, it has it in a really nice format, and I can try and pull it out really quickly here if I can, is the Demco 8022. How's that? And it's like one of my favorite knives in hand. Really just a spectacular feeling handle, and I see that manifested here quite nicely. So let me try and get that 8022 out of here, because that one stands out to me as like one of my favorite folding knife handles that I've ever handled. And here it is. So I just want to point out what I'm referring to here, and it's, you know, very apparent when you see this guy as well. Right, a very similar shape there. This shape to me is like one of the best I've felt in hand. Your front two fingers go into a spot that's, you know, very comfortable. Your rear two, you just get a really nice purchase on the knife. And as long as it thins out here towards the end, which both of these do, one of the things that I've seen is that a knife that gets bigger at the end, like a Strider, to me is not comfortable in the hand. But a knife that gets sort of thinner, and I think that's what I don't like about this one too, is that it gets kind of bigger at the end there. It's nice to hold your hand on the knife so it doesn't slip out, and in this case it kind of gets thinner to the point where your finger is, but this is kind of a lot of wasted space, so I could just cut the knife off right there if I was designing it and be good to go. I think that'd be a more efficient design than what Bark River went for there. But this is, to me, like one of the best EDC handles, and that's what I was seeing when I went and picked out this Boatright Bladeworks particular. When it stood out to me, I shouldn't say I picked it out, because I saw these guys talking about it and I was like, wow, that aesthetic and that handle design just really is my preference. So it stood out to me when I saw Tier 1 Gear Reviews, and I think it was Screaming Pirate talking about this and posting some of the pictures of these guys' knives on their channel. He does some really nice Damascus knives as well. Again, he has these other models that have a sheep's foot blade, which would be for me an even better EDC. I just reached a point where I really wanted to get one in hand, and the sheep's foot ones that I had a shot at were the small 5-inch ones, and I'm kind of over knives that are way too small. It doesn't really do it for me anymore. This size range, somewhere in the like, you know, the Roosevelt is like the smallest total length, I think, that I've really like. And it's because it's so efficient. You get this insanely long cutting edge plus handle, all for about, God, I don't know what this knife is, like 6 inches or something crazy like that, 7 inches max. What's the Roosevelt? Let's take a quick look here. Yeah, 7 inches total. You're just over that here. It's a little longer, but you're getting a lot of that same benefit. And again, you'll see it manifest itself here in a lot of the knives that I like, which is that you get that sort of initial choil and then this sort of fade off here. It all ends up being similar. You may not realize it because of the, you know, the design here, but imagine taking that out and you end up with a very similar concept. This thinner here, and then goes up a little bit and then fades off thinner towards the end. Another one that I like in hand, slightly different actually, but again, kind of this thinner here in the middle, and then it sort of fades off. In this case, it gets a little wider at the end, which I don't love here on the SBK Lamia, but you know, aside from that, it's a really, really nice design. So I may be just rambling about something that's so obvious to the rest of you, but it's something that's really caught my eye lately, is a knife that is designed like this just naturally fits into my hand really well, and is something that I've begun to very actively pursue. So I'm not buying a ton of knives now compared to how I was. I got this channel started by buying and selling, gosh, 100 knives every 3 months or so. I was doing about a knife a day. And I'd buy, say, 100 and sell off, maybe 50 of them. If I love 50, I'd keep them. Lately, I've been, buying 25 to 50 that I sell and sort of reducing the collection down to the things that I really like after all of that sort of intense collecting. And you all sent me a lot of knives, and some manufacturers sent me knives. It really helped me very quickly identify what I liked. And a big piece of that is what's represented here in this knife. And it's a fun part of my collection trajectory now to be able to go after things that I know I like, as opposed to kind of trying stuff and being just disappointed and or not really knowing what I like, candidly. So yeah, really happy here. This again isn't really the blade shape that I like. The big rounded belly isn't like my go-to style for the use case that I normally have, but there are a ton of really cool use cases for this rounded belly style. And obviously CPM-4V is really cool. This is a cool knife. I'm going to continue to look for maybe a more sheep's foot style from Chase over at Boatright. And I think that could be a really interesting competitor for some of my ADC use cases. So not sure what I'll be doing with this one exactly. It could end up just being a piece of the collection because I love it. Or it could end up being something I'd gift to someone or figure out a use case for. I love finding places to just stash knives and go, okay, if I'm in this situation, that's where it's going to be. Or that's the knife I'm going to use. That's something that I have a habit of doing, for better or for worse. So yeah, really cool and satisfied with this purchase here. Pricing, he sold this to me for, it's slipping my mind right now, but I want to say between $200 and $225. So it wasn't crazy, but it wasn't cheap either. For a handmade knife that I think has this level of fit and finish, not bad. I want to say that he worked with a pretty well-known knife maker prior, and I just cannot remember for the life of me who it was, but he worked at somewhere, someone you would know if I mentioned it here. Definitely a well-known maker, and clearly walked away with a lot of really good capabilities, or maybe brought it there. I don't know the history. Maybe he went there with that level of experience, or maybe he learned it there, but definitely a very credible knife maker that he had worked with, whether it was, gosh, I don't know, Holt or someone along those lines. He's based out of Alabama, so that doesn't really, I don't really remember anyone that is there, or whether he moved, or what the story was. But yeah, now I'm trying to tell you stuff I don't know, so I'll try and put some more information about Chase and Boatright Bladeworks in the description. That's all for now. Please like, subscribe, and I will see you on the next one. Take care.